Welcome back, and today we're gonna create our first database. But before we create our database, let's ask the question why we use MySQL. So MySQL is free and open source database system. It's great for beginners because it's easy to learn, has a large supportive community, and offers graphical tool for managing data. It helps organize and store data efficiently, making it an essential tool for various applications. Okay, now we know why we use SQL. So let's take a look at the query for creating database. So over here you can see that we have our keyword create and we have database. As you remember, we had similar query for showing the databases. I always make the mistake that I forget the S at the end when I try to see all the databases that I have. So make sure you use show databases, and when you're creating a database, you use it without the S. So over here we have create database, electronic store. Okay, let's break it down our command. Creating database. This is a SQL command that indicates you want to create a new database. After that, we have electronic store. This is the name you've chosen for a new database. It's the identifier that you'll use to refer to this database in your DBMS. DBMS stands for Database Management System. When I execute the SQL statement in DBMS, we'll create a new empty database with the name electronic store. Okay, so now let's create our own electronic store. So we're gonna open up our MySQL command line and we're gonna try to create our own database. Over here I have opened my SQL command line and I put in my password so we can start creating our own database. So I'm gonna put down create database, and the database I'm gonna put electronic store, and at the end we always put semicolon. And we can see that we were successful, one row affected. Okay, just to make sure that we were successful, we're gonna use the show databases, semicolon. And over here we can see that we have our electronic store. And we're gonna use electronic store. Basically, we're just gonna try to select our database. And we can see the database changed. And that means that now we can add to our database, make changes to our database. So now we know how to see all the databases that we have in our system. We know how to create a new database. We know how to access the new database. Welcome back. And in this lecture, we're going to learn about jumping tables. So let's ask the question, what does jump tables do? When you execute the SQL statement, the database management system will completely erase the entire database along with all its tables, data, and other objects. It's like demolishing an entire building, including all the rooms, furniture, and belonging inside. Using the drop database command requires caution as the action is irretrievable and all data within the database will be lost. Always ensure you have appropriate backups before executing such a command. Let's look at the command for deleting the database that you want. So we have drop database, database name. So in our example, we're going to use the electronic store that we just created. But if you want, you can create new databases, drop them, create them again. Just so you know, make sure that in the future you're very cautious about using drop database, because once you run this command, you cannot access your data again. So let's break it down. Drop database command. Drop database, the SQL command drop database is used when you want to permanently delete an entire database from database management system. database name. In this part of the statement, you will replace database name with an actual name of the database you intended to delete. Think of this as a unique identifier for the database you're targeting for removal. Now let's open MySQL command line, and we're gonna use what we learned in the past few lessons. So let's put down show databases. We can see that we have our electronic store that we created in previous lecture. We're gonna try to delete the electronic store, so we're gonna put down drop database, and we're gonna put the electronic store name, and we always want to put the semicolon at the end. So let's check if we were successful. We're gonna put down show databases with semicolon, and we can see that we were successful at dropping our electronic store. And now we're gonna have a small exercise. In this exercise, I want you to create 5 different databases and drop them. As you saw in our electronic store, we use underscore. Just know that you don't have to use underscore or any specific type of formatting for naming the database. It comes up to the person's preference. You can use camel casing, you can use just regular space for the name. So we have like 5 different types of them. So just create 5 different databases and drop all of them. And this is the end for this lecture. Thank you for finishing it, and see you in the next one.